This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. True Crime by Logan Carter. Thank you for listening. The Man Who Watched. The California dream, particularly in the burgeoning suburbs of the 1970s, was painted in optimistic hues. Sun-drenched afternoons by kidney-shaped pools, the smell of freshly cut grass mingling with barbecue smoke, the quiet hum of security in neatly arranged houses on curving streets. It was a dream built on the promise of safety, predictability, a delineated space where the chaos of the world was kept firmly outside the sliding glass door. Yet beneath this shimmering surface a shadow began to stretch, a creeping dread that whispered of violation. It wasn't just the fear of random violence, the kind that could erupt anywhere, anytime. This was something more insidious, more personal. It was the fear of being seen, truly seen, by eyes that held not admiration or affection, but cold, predatory calculation. It was the fear of the man who watched. He didn't have a single consistent name then. In Sacramento County, he was the East Area Rapist, a phantom slipping through backyards and unlocked windows, his terror methodical, his presence chillingly intimate. Further south in the San Joaquin Valley, he might have been the Visalia ransacker, a nocturnal intruder obsessed with peculiar ransackings, his motives opaque. Later, blending into the coastal communities of Southern California, he would escalate, becoming the original Night Stalker, his violence darkening into murder. But woven through these terrifying identities, across the geography of fear he carved through the state, was a constant thread, his meticulous, unnerving surveillance. He wasn't an impulsive predator striking at random opportunity. He was a hunter who studied his quarry, who learned their rhythms, their vulnerabilities, their sanctuaries, long before he chose his moment to shatter them. This chapter is not a chronicle of his entire reign, nor a tally of his atrocities. It is an attempt to step inside the specific terror his surveillance engendered, to understand the unique horror felt by those who came to realize, often in the darkest hours of assault, that their attacker wasn't a stranger crashing through the barriers of their lives for the first time. He had been there before. He had watched from the shadows, perhaps for weeks. He had slipped inside their homes while they slept or shopped or worked, learning the geography of their private worlds. He had breathed their air, touched their things, absorbed their routines into his horrifying calculus. This is the story of that violation, the fear born not just of the attack itself, but of the crushing knowledge of the watcher, viewed through the lens of one quiet suburban street, one darkened window, one life irrevocably altered by the man who turned the sanctuary of home into a stage for his terror. Let us call her Claire. Her life in the autumn of 1977 was sketched in the familiar lines of middle-class comfort in a Sacramento suburb. A neat, single-story home on a quiet cul-de-sac shared with her husband, Michael. Their days followed a comfortable rhythm: work, dinner together, television in the evenings, the low murmur of conversation before sleep. Their windows looked out onto manicured lawns and similar houses, inhabited by families much like their own. Nothing remarkable, which was precisely the point. It was the unremarkable nature of their existence that felt like its own form of protection, a shield of anonymity in a growing metropolis. Crime happened, of course. News reports spoke of burglaries, sometimes worse, but it always felt distant, something that happened to other people in other neighborhoods. The whispers about the East Area Rapist were growing louder, unsettling conversations over fences and at grocery stores, but fear hadn't yet fully breached the perimeter of their daily lives. It remained a chilling story, not an imminent threat. The first sign was almost too subtle to register, easily dismissed amidst the noise of everyday life: the phone calls. They started sporadically, maybe once a week. A ring, Claire would answer. She usually got home from her secretarial job before Michael, who worked in construction management. Silence, not a dead line, but a weighted silence, the kind that suggests someone is listening on the other end. Sometimes a click,
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.